Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine Life. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county sheriff. It's in the state of Tennessee. And today's date, early Monday morning, November the 21st, 2016. Time 3:50 a.m. And first thing, thank you all my fans, my support, your continued encouragement and support. And the music you hear in the background, that's African hip hop. And you can go online and now you got all the radio stations. You can pick it up on the internet. And I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. And I'll continue to further my education at Monroe College online, pursuing my associate degree studying business administration, concentration in marketing. And turn the volume down. In today's video, we're going to continue to talk about African traditional religion. African traditional religion being taught in institutions, meaning colleges, universities. In sub-Saharan Africa, you can earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD studying African traditional religion. And where is sub-Saharan Africa? Well, we're going to look at a map. Now, this is a language distribution map. As you can see, it shows you all the groups of people that live on the continent of Africa. It shows you the language that they speak, and it shows you the location where they live. Now that blue color, that's the Afro-Asiatic. The yellow color, that's the Nilo-Saharan. Now the dark orange color is the Niger-Congo A, and the light orange color is the Niger-Congo B, the Bantu. Now, as you can see, this is the other half of the map. And on the side, it shows you the colors and what those colors represent. And as you can see, this other half of the map and on the other map, it shows you sub-Saharan Africa. Now, that blue color represents the Afro-Asiatic. The yellow color represents the Nilo-Saharan. The dark orange color represents the Niger-Congo A. The light orange color represents the Niger-Congo B, the Bantu. The green color, that's two groups of people. There's two groups of people. Quay people, or some Quay, are the pastoralists. They're the pastoralists. The sand people are the hunter-gatherers. They are the hunter-gatherers. There's two groups of people. Now, over there on the island of Madagascar, that purple lavender color is the Austronesians. The Austronesians are the people that live in Indonesia. And the people that live in Indonesia, they migrated from Indonesia. And they settled on the island of Madagascar, and they colonized the island of Madagascar. They are not the original inhabitants of the island of Madagascar. Now, this map is a Niger-Congo language distribution map. Now, when I copy this map off the printer, down here at the bottom, a little portion of the map got left off, just a little bit. But this is the Niger-Congo languages. The primary branch is the Volta Congo, the South Volta, Bantu beside Bantu, the other East Benue Congo, your West Benue Congo, and your Kwe, your South Bolt, Kru, Sanufo, your Gur, Volta languages, and your Adamawa, your Bunjian languages, your other primary branch, your Korafon, your Mandi, your Atlantic, and below the Atlantic is the Dogon. Now, this is another Niger Congo language distribution map. The Atlantic branch, Wolof, and Fule, your Mandi, Bambare, Malinka, Maninka, and Dayule, your Kru, your Gur, Moor language, Kwe, Bali, Akan, Ewa, Dogon, Ajoy, Adamawa, your Bunjian language, Jabaye, Danda, and Zandi, your Kordofanians, your non-Bantoid, Yaruba, and Igbo, your Bantoid, Fang, Tiki, Lingale, Mongo and Kondu, Congo, Choke, Lube, Luganda, Rwanda, Rundi, Sukume, Kikuyu, your Bantu, Swahili, Makawe, Inyanje, Bembe, Shone, Tisange, Northern Soto, Zulu, Southern Soto, Kosa, Tiswane, Ndange, Umbundu, and there are many other Niger Congo speaking groups of people that are not even listed on this map. Now, on my previous video, we went over some very important information. We're trying to address this street gang, this drug gang that is continue to exist here in the United States of America, and primarily based in Chicago, Illinois, and Los Angeles, California, on the East Coast, and other places around the United States of America, also in Canada, Mexico, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, in Europe, the Middle East, South Asia, Central Asia, East Asia, Southeast Asia, the continent of Africa, New Zealand, Australia. Now, myself, as well as others who are descendants of Niger Congo, our ancestors of Niger Congo, we were not born, we don't live on the continent of Africa. And but we know that there are many people who live on the continent of Africa that are Niger Congo, and there are many people who are Niger Congo who have legally immigrated from the continent of Africa, from sub-Saharan Africa, and are living in Europe, living in the Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, and living in Europe, living in Canada, living here in the United States of America, possibly Mexico, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, and we're trying to address this street gang, drug gang problem that we have. And what we don't want to happen is this: the people that are Niger Congo that are legally immigrated here to the United States of America, we don't want the street gang, the drug gang, to take advantage of anybody or try to make a fool out of anybody. That's Niger Congo, who legally immigrated here to the United States of America. We get directly in contact with the continent of Africa, the Niger Congo, in sub-Saharan Africa, and to inform them about the street gang, the drug gang in Chicago, Illinois, on the East Coast, in Los Angeles, California, in Canada, Mexico, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, Europe, and so on and so forth, all around the planet. And on the previous video yesterday, one of the main reasons why many of us who are descendants of Niger Congo, whose ancestors of Niger Congo, is because of the East African slave trade, or it's referred to as the Arab slave trade, and the West African slave trade, or it's referred to the transatlantic slave trade. And so, like we discussed on my previous video, that we was continue to discuss the history of street gangs here in the United States of America and in Europe and other places around the world. And it's a possibility that the street gang was involved in the slave trade. See? So we are discussing this. We have discussed, conversating about the street gang, and we also are just conversating about the slave trade and the possible link between the street gang, the gang, and the slave trade. And we're gonna continue to discuss that today. Now, as you know, we've been discussing, the United States government has not condoned the gang being here in the United States of America. Their president has not been allowed by the United States government. And on my previous video, we've been talking about how the United States government has passed laws and to address the issue of many issues. The United States government passed laws all the time, and many of the reasons why the United States government passed laws is because of organized crime, which is the gang. And recently, the United States Attorney, has passed laws to address the gang problem that we have here, in America and around the world. And this is a serious issue, because when it comes to passing law, it's not that the United States government was allowing the gang to continue to exist. The United States government was passing laws to deal with the gang, and such as when you deal with the slave issue and Reconstruction. See, the gang was here in America. The gang was here in America. The Civil War was fought, and to end slavery, and the Emancipation Proclamation was passed, and to free all slaves, and we had amendments passed to the Constitution guaranteeing everybody rights to be free, and to be equal protection under the law. See, these are things that the gang, they distort. When you say equal protection under the law never told the gang that they was trying to protect you. They was trying to protect rights, the rights that people have. See, In the gang, they take things that people do that's right, and they distort it, and they make it wrong because of what they do. And the Reconstruction Act, they had to had to rebuild the South, and had to rebuild America, had to bring America back together as one country, as one nation. And so the Reconstruction Act was a significant law that was passed, but the word gang was not involved. See, we continue to show that some people they had this perception in their mind that the United States government has never tried to do anything at all about the gang. And then they'll go out on the street and they'll influence little children to be a part of the gang because they had this perception in their mind that it's okay, that the United States government has not told anybody in the past that it was wrong to be in a gang, but that's a lie. See, this is the reason why we continue to talk about this the street gang and the drug gang and people's perception that the United States government has been allowing the street gang and the drug gang to exist, and that's not true. See, when you look at the law, just like we was on my previous video, we was talking about World War One. Well, when you talk about World War One and how it all got started, see, there were a lot of other issues that we didn't have. We don't have all the time, so we don't have to try to take everything all at once. But we know that it was an incident, a person, an individual took a firearm and assassinated a key, a very important person. And but the thing that, see, when you talk about history, see, this is what we talked about yesterday and about history. See, when you talk about World War One, they'll tell you about the Allied powers and the Central powers, and they'll tell you that it was a World War One. But what they didn't tell you in the history, that it was the gang. See, they didn't tell you in the history that it was the gang that committed a crime. The assassination, the person who carried out, who did it. They didn't tell you in history that the person who did that for the gang. Killed the leader of Prussia. See, this is a very important thing that we need to continue to talk about. It's the gang and how history is told. And that, just like slavery, when we talk about slavery, in history, the gang is not included in our discussion, in our conversation about slavery. And but when you look at the different dates and the time, when you look at the people who are involved, such as the English, the British, the French, the Dutch, the Spanish, the Portuguese, you began to see that there was something peculiar about the people who was on these ships, on these slave ships, and transporting slaves across the Atlantic. And we also are dealing with the East African slave trade. And because I know the East African slave trade, it was the Arabs and things of that nature. But that doesn't mean that the gang was not involved, because it was on the east, it was on the eastern side of the continent of Africa. See, so we're gonna continue to talk about the gang and history, and like such as World War One. And we was talking about the draft and the United States government. When the United States government got in World War One, It didn't tell you in history that they drafted a whole bunch of gang members. They didn't tell you that. But when you know, when you have information about the gang being here in America, and you have information that the gang left Europe and came to America, and when you see the time frame of World War One, the gang was here in America. And when you see the draft, when you see men, a lot of white men who were drafted into the United States military during World War One, that was the gang. The gang got drafted into World War One. They got sent to World War One to fight for the United States of America. Many of those people, many of those white men died. They were killed. See, this is what the United States government did about that issue, about the gang. They drafted many of those white men. They were drafted into the United States military, and they were sent to fight in the war, in World War One. And see, in Europe, the people who were fighting, all the nations that are like United Kingdom, that includes Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. See, and we know that in the night to come, we know that these people were fighting in World War One, and we also know that, like such as the Japanese, they was involved in World War One. They was allies with the United States of America during World War One. But see, history didn't tell you that they was aware of the gang in Europe, and that when World War One started, see, they was against the gang, but some of the gang was allies with the, when they went to war, and when this incident happened, the Prussians, the Austro-Hungarians, they had nations that were allied with them, but in these nations, there were many gang members. The Germans and the Ottomans sided with the Germans, and many other companies, the Central Powers. The Russians, and they at first they was in the war, but then you had the Bolshevik Revolution while World War One was going on. The Bolshevik Revolution, they took the Russians out of World War One. But see, what history didn't tell you is that it was an intentional, and also the Bolshevik Revolution, they killed the monarchy in Russia. The king, the emperor and the empress, they killed them. They killed the whole family, and took over Russia. But see, they didn't tell you that it was the gang, it was the mob. They didn't tell you that in history. So this is what we're dealing with about history and all these events that happened in history, like World War I, but like here in America, the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, 1812, and right after the Revolutionary War, we had the War 1812, and the Revolutionary War. See, when we talk about the Revolutionary War, let's go to the history of street gangs. we're talking about history, how history, uh, is taught to the general public. When we talk about the Revolutionary War, well, we know that the Revolutionary War was here in the United States of America. It was between the 13 colonies and Britain, Great Britain, the British, and well, the United Kingdom. And when you look at the time frame, and during the 1700s, the game came over. Now, see, this is what you like. What it says. We continue to refer to National Gang Center Bulletin, the history of street gangs in the United States. And we also refer to Wikipedia about the street gang. Now, it says there were some gangs over in London that were terrorizing London. The Mims, the Hectors, the Bugles, the Dead Boys. They was over there, breaking windows and demolishing taverns. Well, see, history tells you that. And what's his name? Pike. Now his first name is Luke Pike. Looked it up and based on limited information. First name is Luke and last name Pike. Pike, the chronicler of British crime. Now, there were things that he brought. He chronicled this information, and he documented the existence of gangs. When you say that word gang, see, this is what you have to understand what Pike did. Not only did he identify that there were some individuals, but he specifically, when he chronicled this information, this is what he said. He documented the existence of gangs. You see the word gang being used. So remember we went to the definition of gang, and when you speak language, and in the definition of gang, it tells you that it's an old English word, and being an old English word, it didn't tell you that that's what it meant. See, it never said in the definition of gang that that's what it meant. That you was a criminal, and that you was organized crime and things of this nature. It said it was an old English word, and it was also a word that was used by the Norse. And it gave you a definition, but it didn't say that's what it meant. But when Pike chronicled it, by the time Pike chronicled it, and by the 1873, so this word was being used in the language, and when they used the word in the language, the behavior of the people, they said it was, the group of people said, he said he documented the existence of gangs of highway robbers in England during the 17th century. And he speculates that similar gangs might well have existed in our mother country much earlier. Perhaps as early as the 14th or even the 12th century. So this underlying culture that Pike is identifying is a possibility that this culture has been around for over. When you talk about the 12th century, the 14th century, you're talking about 1,000 years, over 1,000 years. Because time frame, how long was a century, and how long was a decade, and so on and so forth. So we're talking about a lot of years that this has taken time to get established in Britain. Now it doesn't. Now Pike never said that it not only in our mother country, but they never said that this type of activity wasn't going, wasn't not going on in France or Spain or Portugal. They never said that. They said, now what Pike said was what was going on in Britain. He talked about what was going on in Britain. And so when we talk about the Revolutionary War, and we talk about how the settlers came to America, the 13 colonies, and by the time of the Revolutionary War, you had all these 13 colonies together fighting against the British. Now, when those settlers came over the 13 colonies, you don't say that the 13 colonies, was not uh, involved with gangs. See, when you see that it was organized gangs in London in the 1600s, well, see, in the 1600s, the gang came over and settled in Jamestown, Virginia. See, the first settlers came over from England, when they came from England, and they settled in Jamestown, Virginia. And when they settled in Jamestown, Virginia, they came in contact with the natives, Native Americans, what is referred to as the Native Americans. History didn't say specifically that those individuals were gang. They didn't say they were the Hectors or the Buglers or the Dead Boys or the Mims or any other name. It just said they were the settlers, English settlers from England. See, if you're having a problem over in England with the gang over and they doing all that in London, and then you come over, see, it was some organized gangs. When you say organized gangs, see, that's a serious issue. Because when you're being organized, and then when you say organized gangs, look at what they doing. They breaking windows. They burning down taverns. Everything that they doing is criminal. They getting into fights. And when they get into fights, they stabbing each other. And by that time, you have firearms. They getting into shootouts with each other. They, shooting at each other. So it was a serious issue in England at that time. And so when we talk about the Revolutionary War, this, here in America, the 13 colonies, there's a possibility that the 13 colonies were the Buglers, the Dead Boys, the Hectors, the Mims, because for you to have 13 colonies, people were still coming to America. For you to have 13 colonies, that's the point we're trying to make. And all these settlers, you're not gonna tell anybody that everybody that came over here was not a gang member. You're not gonna tell nobody. Look at all these people. For you to have the 13 colonies, that's the point we're trying to make. Is how can you have all these people and you have 13 colonies? That's a lot of people. And you're not going to say that all these people that in it to have 13 colonies, they were not the gangs that they talk about in London, in Britain. What we're saying is that that's who they were. They came over. Maybe not all of them. They came over because everybody that come from Britain, some people came from Germany, because we know based on the immigration records, we know that many people came from Germany. We know that many people came from Holland, the Netherlands. We know that many people some of the people came from France. So we know that everybody that came to America, to form the 13 colonies, they did not come. Everybody didn't come from Britain. Some were Irish, they came from Ireland. Some were Scottish, some came from Scotland. Some came from Wales, the Welsh. And so that's what we are continuing to focus on, is the history and how it was taught. See, the whole thing about the gang was left out in history until recently, when the general public, when we talk about like the Revolutionary War, because see, when the British came over to fight against the 13 colonies, you're gonna say that the soldiers and the sailors who were fighting for the British, and you already had a gang problem in Britain, you gonna say that they was not gang members? Is that what you gonna say? You gonna say that the British military, the sailors and the soldiers, you gonna say that they were not gang members? Well, how you gonna say that when we have historical documentation that there were violent crimes being committed in England by the gang? We got documentation. And during that period of time, during the 1600s in London, you had violent crimes being committed by organized gang, and they've been identified. They've been by the Mims, the Hectors, the Buglers, and the Dead Boys. So when you come to the Revolutionary War, you can't say that the sailors and the soldiers who were fighting for the British, you can't say that they were not gang, that they were not the gang. You can't say that. And you can't say that the 13 colonies, that some of the gang, the men, the buglers, the Hectors, the men, you can't say that they didn't come to America. You can't say that and form the 13 colonies. You can't say that either, because we're looking at the time frame. We're looking at that time, the first settlers who came to America came to America and settled in America, Jamestown, Virginia, in 1607. And they was already having problems in the 1600s with the gang. And it's documented. It's documented. So we're going to continue our conversation. And we're going to continue our talk about history and slavery and all the other issues in my next video. And we're gonna continue to talk about the United States Department of Justice, the Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, the Community-Oriented Policing Services, which is through the Department of Justice, and the Project Safe Neighborhoods, which is also through the Department of Justice, the gang prevention, and the research and programs, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. And we're gonna continue to talk about hazing and hazing prevention, because we know that the sorority and the fraternity, they teach the street gang and the drug gang to be violent, especially to little children. They teach little children to be violent and to haze each other and to jump each other into the gang and to give each other violations and things of this nature, and to get into violent fights with rival gang members and things of that. See, this is what the sorority and the fraternity, this is what they teach the street gang, because this is what the sorority and fraternity do. They haze each other. This is what the sorority do. This is what the fraternity do. So we're going to continue to talk about the anti-gang and anti-hazing prevention. We know that the United States Attorney has laws on the books, such as 1457 Criminal Street Gang Statute. We're going to continue to talk about the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Prevent Gang Membership, the Injury Prevention and Control, Division of Violence Prevention. And we're going to continue to talk about the Office of Justice Program, the National Institute of Justice, changing course, preventing youth from joining gangs. We're going to continue to talk about the anti-gang strategies, the National Institute of Justice, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. We're going to continue to talk about the National Gang Intelligence Center, as well as the Organized Crime and Gang Section, and other federal agencies, state and local, that are trying to address the gang problem. And the National Gang Center And we watched the video where you join gangs and the publication of the Parents Guide to Prevent Children from Joining Gangs. And also the National Gang Center also has the compilation of state laws against gangs. And we're going to continue talking about the definition of gang and gangster, the definition of mob and mobster, thug, goon, hoodlum and hooligan and ruffian and all the other negative words that people label themselves as. And we're going to continue to talk about the anti-gang and anti-hazing activities that we're going to continue to put together and continue to promote. And such as all this gangster rap music, all this gangster popular culture that gets promoted in movies and books and artwork and things of this nature. See, we're going to continue to emphasize anti-gang, anti-hazing activities 24/7, 365 days out of the year. And we're gonna do some reading before we end today's video. We're gonna read from the book titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Obasede Ebalelu and Dr. P. Adalumo Bapemu. And we're reading from chapter 7, God and the Society. And we're reading from 7.5, Secret Societies. And we're reading from B, Category and Function of Secret Society. In some localities, it is necessary that young people pass through the initiation of these secret societies connected with puberty and adolescent rights before they can take part in the adult life of the ethnic group to which they belong. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, we just got to read from B, Category and Function of Secret Societies. And we will read from 7.5, Secret Society, and we will read from chapter 7, God and the Society. And we will read from the book titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Obasede Ebalelu and Dr. P. Adalumo Bapemu. And we read from the book titled African Traditional Religion, a Definition, written by Dr. E. Beloja I. Dole. And we read from chapter 5, the structure of African traditional religion. And we read from number 5, the practice of magic and medicine. Now, to the question of the relation between religion and magic. Are they the same in origin? Does one spring from the other? And which of the two is older? These questions are all of a piece and have been age long, and all embracing answers that they both arise out of man's sense of need, and it is very probable on this that some scholars have based the theory that religion and magic have a common origin. J.B. Pratt maintain that they sprang from the same matrix. The fifth relation of the individual to the cosmic power and the responses to which it led developed into two interlocking, though distinguishable phenomena, which may be called private magic and private worship. Franz Clement says magic is religion in origin and always remains a bastard sister of religion, as they both grow together. John Oman thinks that magic is bad religion, as evolution and degeneration in the physical life are in the same environment, and the difference only concerns the use in which it is put. So which the spiritual, at its creative stage, magic is religion because its effective setting is sacred tradition. Its feeling is at least akin to the sense of the holy, and its power of the nature of the supernatural. Magic might even be described as mysticism in the fetters of fixed idea, because both alike work with the sense of the holy as awe-inspiring in itself. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. And we just got to read from number 5, the practice of magic and medicine. And we've been reading from number 5, destruction of African traditional religion. And we've been reading from the book titled African Traditional Religion, a Definition, written by Dr. E. Badoja Adowu. We're going to continue our reading with the book titled African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M.B. And we're reading from number 6, God and Nature. And we're reading C, God, Natural Objects, and Phenomena. As far as reading sources available are concerned, all African peoples associate God with the sky or heaven in one way or another. There are those who say that he reigns there. The majority think that he lives there, and some even identify him with the sky or consider it to be his chief manifestation. We have many people whose names for God mean sky, heaven, or the above. For example, the Bayrai and Fujulu term for God is Ngun Lo Ki, which means God in the sky above. The Shone name in Yalinge means the great one of the sky. And Voku Musure means the other above. The Tia name Eonda Eondo means heaven, sky, and Takane, word for God. Ekuj means of, up above. Thus, God cannot be separated from heaven, and heaven cannot be separated from God. The object points to his creator, and thoughts about the creator point towards the heaven and the sky. We'll stop right there. And we just read from C, God, natural objects and phenomena, and read from number 6, God and nature. And we just been reading from the book titled African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. Reading from the book titled Concepts of God and Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. And we read from Part 4, God and Man. And read from number 17, worship, prayers, and other appeals to God. And read prayers. Abandon one to mention God's name frequently in prayers, blessing, and salutation. One common prayer says, I hope that the God of Rwanda will help me, and a blessing runs. May the God of Banyarwanda bless you. The Banyoro rarely pray to God except in distress, though their rainmakers do so more often. When people pray, they do it in the open, with their hands and eyes lifted towards the sky. Otherwise, their attitude is that God has done his job of creation, and there is no need to solicit further favors from him. They have divinities who help them in their daily and minor needs. Gonna start right there. We just got to read from prayers. And we read number 17. And we read number 17, worship, prayers, and other appeals to God. And we read from Part 4, God and Man. And we read from the book titled Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty. Gonna get ready to end today's video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county of Shelby, in the state of Tennessee. And I thank all my family. I support we will continue encouraging us, support we will continue with our anti-gang, anti-hazing and efforts and activities that we are trying to get continue to promote and we'll continue working on my entertainment and music interest. And to my next video, you take care of yourself with each and every one of you the very best.